Take two.
Wow. Okay. Hi guys, my name is Bridget Modibedi and I'm a serial entrepreneur who does a little bit of everything. I am the founder and CEO at S1EP28 Essentials, Bridget Speeds, and Brielle Beauty.
Put a finger down if you've ever ignored red flags because you liked the person.
Child, who hasn't?
Put a finger down if you've ever stayed because of potential.
Oh, child. One trigger.
Yo, sorry.
Triggered.
Put a finger down if you've fallen faster for someone than you thought you would.
Yeah.
Put a finger down if you think timing can ruin a good relationship.
Timing?
Yes.
If it's like wrong timing?
Potentially.
Yeah, actually. Crazy that you said that. Maybe I'll tell you as time goes on, but yeah.
Ooh, are we in sync? Okay, anyway. Put a finger down if you've ever gone back to an ex.
Have I gone back to an ex? Okay. I feel like I can explain.
Have you or haven't you?
So what had happened was, right, in the first go around we weren't official, but it did feel like we were in a relationship. And then when we made it official, it seemed and felt like going back to an ex, but he wasn't technically my ex because we weren't official in the beginning. Does that make sense?
So you can keep your finger up.
Yeah. You want my opinion on the dating scene in gaps? Do you have forever? Because wow. First of all, I would like to say I think people in this city have normalized infidelity. Cheating is just like, it's almost expected even. Like the girlies have given up. It's almost like, yeah, it is what it is. He's gonna cheat as long as you're happy, as long as he does this or that. But I'm the type of girl that doesn't want to settle for that. So first of all, the datings, I have experienced my own fair share of being cheated on. That's why I asked you if you have all day because, yeah, it's a lot. But basically the infidelity, the lying, the everybody knowing everybody and everybody dating everybody, that's just a lot. Yeah. That's pretty much the dating scene summed up. But you know what my issue is? I feel like I've been through so many that like now I'm even tired. Even the phrase talking stage triggers me. Like, do you know what I want to do now for the talking stage? Do you know what I want to do for the talking stage? I want to start compiling all the questions that people normally ask and putting them in a PDF. And then as soon as a guy asks me, tell me about yourself, I just forward them the PDF. Because I've done it too many times. What's your favorite color? Red. Like, how many times am I going to say that? Do you know what I mean? What do you like to do for fun? Hello? Like, just read the PDF and then get back to me. Let me know if you're down because I'm tired. No, for real, I'm so serious actually. I'm so serious. I've already started kind of drafting it on my journal, the PDF. So I just have to put it on Canva and, forward it. Because how long are we going to talk for? Damn. I would say like, you need to, I don't have a child, but from what I've seen with just parents all over the world, their child comes first and they will always be the priority. So you need to be understanding of that. If anything happens with the kid, they're going to have to be there. Like, it won't always be about you guys. This child is always going to have to take priority to the parent. And then also you who's coming into the relationship with someone who has a child, I think you have to be open to children and open to helping raise a child that isn't yours. And it has to be a conscious decision that you make. Like, don't just jump into it because children are like very hectic. It's not just like an easy job. Do you know what I mean? I don't know the extent of it because again, I'm not a parent, but I can tell from what I've seen, even with my own mom, that it's a job that you need to immerse yourself into. And so if you're going to date someone who has a child, you also need to be ready and willing to take on the responsibility of helping your partner raise the child, I guess. Yeah. I feel like, yeah. No, think about it. It's a very simple thing. We do things we want to do. If we don't want to do it, we don't do it. And for me, I've seen it. Because sometimes you will... when men want to humble you... No, I'm being so serious. You will be in a relationship for 3 years, ne? Complaining about the same thing. Babe, I don't like it when you do this. Babe, I don't like it when you do this. And then you guys eventually break up. Then they will go into another relationship and you see them doing that thing that you wanted them to do effortlessly. And then you're like, oh, so it wasn't a thing of like you couldn't do it. You just didn't want to do it for me. So I truly believe in if they wanted to, they would. Because I've seen it play out in so many, in my own personal experiences and other people's experiences as well. Where it's like, oh, you know, he never used to do this, but he's doing this for this person. So I guess, yeah, if they wanted to, they would. It's just a matter of like, are you the person they want to do it for? You know? Yeah. Yeah, and then, yeah, you can't just say that. I'm going to need to know why you want to tell me what to wear all the time. Do you know what I mean? So that I can see your perspective, you can see mine, and we can sit down and meet each other in the middle. You know, because if you're just going to say, I don't like, you know, you're not going to wear that. If I ask you why, and then you're just like, just because, it's like when your parents say, don't do that, then you ask them why, and then they say, because I said so. Okay. Okay, so like what must happen from there? Because you see, as kids, you know that like whenever our parents did that, you wanted to be even more rebellious because it's like, what do you mean because you said so? Okay, so for me, I have learned to understand what dating is in the different stages, right? You can decide to date exclusively, you can decide to date while also seeing other people, because essentially dating is just exploring your options. Today I'm getting to know him, tomorrow I'm getting to know him. I'm weighing my options like, is he God-fearing? Yeah, this one says he's God-fearing but he's not willing to wait for marriage. This one is willing to wait. Okay, maybe this one is that. So essentially that's dating, right? If we had said that we're being exclusive and then I'm out there doing the most, then that's shading on my part. So they would be right to come up and say, you owe me that commitment because we discussed that we were going to have it. But if it's a thing of like I started, which I've experienced, where it's like I've started talking to you and all of a sudden I'm your girl, hold on, when did this happen? Because I'm all for the romance. Ask me, court me, ask me to be your girlfriend, something nice. I've had about 3 experiences with guys that traumatized me and literally stressed me out more than some of the long-term relationships I was in. I mean, honestly, body count matters, but for me, it's a thing of like, let's switch the narrative. Men and women need to hold each other accountable for their indulgence in sexual activities equally. Like, it cannot be imposed on just women and then men just get to find it cool and then they fist pump and chest pump over it. And then with women, it's like, oh, do you know what I mean? I wish I had this information before I broke my virginity, but now I see why God says not to have sex before marriage. Because now when you go into the marriage, there's all these expectations from all the experiences you've had, and then ultimately you feel like your partner is not doing it for you because Rob used to do it for you better. You see what I mean? But if you come into it with no experience, which is what God desires, you are just gonna feel like your husband is the best man you've ever had in the world, because he is, because you've never had anything else. So I think for me also, just on this issue of body count, I'll really encourage all of you guys to try celibacy, please, for my sake and for the sake of Jesus. If it's a red flag, being friends with your ex, also subjective for me, because I do have exes that I'm friends with and it's purely platonic, I promise you that. And I don't even talk to them like at all, like okay, we talk sometimes, but it's not like an everyday thing where I'm like, oh, hi, how you doing? I guess I'd have to say red. Yeah, I'd have to say red, but again, still, I'm on the fence because it depends on the nature of the relationship. Yeah. Yeah, I think you need to be considering when I feel like with social media, it's almost as if once you put something on there, you're giving people the platform to say you can have a say, you can have an opinion, you can, you're a part of this basically. You're inviting them to say, yeah, if you want to talk about my boyfriend, you can. So you need to be ready for that if you're going to post whoever you're in a relationship with. And for me, kind of being like in the social media space, I've seen it manifest where if I posted my partner, someone would go to him and say, oh yeah, you're dating Bridget? And then they start like with the drama. And then I'm just like, wait, what? Like, there's let me tell you something. The rumors I hear about myself, I'm like, that's my life? Wow, my life is so much more interesting out there. So I've had so many instances where whenever people find out who I'm with, they will literally just go to them and just start spewing nonsense. And I've had the same happen to me, where they would come and say, oh, you're dating this guy? Nah, but that's a lie. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, once you put your partner out there, just know you're opening a can of worms. I feel like for me, from what I've learned from all of this, I'm only gonna post my husband. That's gonna be it. I'm never gonna post a boyfriend. So I'm gonna post, the only times you guys are gonna see me pop up with a man is when I post my engagement and then when I post our wedding photos. That's it. Because then he's my husband. Whatever you say, I don't care. But when it's like you're still trying to develop something, those little comments and that nonsense that they spew, it can make or break you. So, but once we're solid and we know we're doing this for real and we're husband and wife, it's like, whatever. Yeah. Honey, I am trying to build a kingdom marriage. And when I say kingdom marriage, you guys know I'm very much a Jesus girl. So for me, the foundation of everything I build has to be kingdom based. My businesses have to be. I always tell people, like, with my businesses, I'm doing this, but it's not for me. There's an assignment to this. So even with my marriage, because marriage is a covenant between three people: God, the man, and the woman. So for me, like, that kind of partnership is going to play out in how we decide to what's the word I'm looking for? Like, just how we decide to steward the marriage, one, for ourselves and for other people, for the family, for our bloodline, for the family that we're building, how we are using our covenant and our marriage to steward things like that we're doing, businesses, serving in the church, this and that. Like, for me, that's partnership. How are we, like, if it's God-centered, I just know it's going to be okay. We don't even have to think about it, as long as, because you see what the Bible says about seek first the kingdom of God and then everything else will follow. I always say, like, once you invite God into something, you don't even really have to know how you're going to do it. I don't even really have to know what partnership between my future husband and I is going to look like, but I know that as long as God is at the center of that partnership, we're just going to miraculously find out where God is leading us. So I think partnership for me looks like surrendering to God and just making sure that whatever we do, whether business, whether church, whether community service, it is to glorify God. Yeah. I would say that love alone is enough. That is the biggest misconception, because you can love each other, but there's so many other things that come into play that can compromise that love, where, like, if you are expecting the love to be the only thing that's holding you down and holding the relationship down, that may be tricky, because love alone cannot survive a lot of the day-to-day life that goes on even within the relationship and just within the world. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of things come into it. Commitment. And I always say, like, you choosing to be with someone, it's like you have to choose it every day. It's a constant choice to say, I'm gonna be with you, I'm gonna be with you. So that commitment you need to make. You need to constantly commit to this. You need to also be aligned and in terms of values, background, principle. Well, not background, because obviously we're all raised differently, but like just the principles. All these things come into play so that, yes, you do love each other, but do you align with a lot of the other things that can make the relationship survive and be sustainable, for the long haul. So I think the biggest misconception is that people think, oh yeah, we love each other, I love you, you love me, cool, we're good, let's do this. And then they get into the relationship and then they realize, damn, this person is doing things differently from how I want to do things. And in that moment, you have to choose to compromise and commit, and then they also have to compromise and commit, and all the things come into play. So basically, all I'm saying is that love is accompanied by all these other smelling in a love is the tree, but then there's all these branches. So without the branches, the tree is just withering and dying, but with all these other branches, if they are thriving, then the love just blooms and grows into an even bigger tree. Hi, my name is Bridget, and this has been my 28 for 28. One thing about me, I will do the peace sign.